Feels tough to be a designer or a developer right now. It's hard to see where your career might be going in the next 6 months, 1 year, 5 years. The entire industry is changing, and it's obviously unnerving. It's making us feel scared, overwhelmed, and exhausted. I felt the same. I still do sometimes, but I've also started seeing opportunity. It did take me a while to flip this fear into curiosity. And at the core of this is AI. But it's been liberating to understand what the hell is actually going on and to build a point of view on how I think design and product teams ought to use this new technology. And it happened when I allowed myself to look at AI not as a tool, not as a technology, but as a toy. I mean, it is an incredibly powerful tool, an incredibly powerful technology, but when I looked at it as a toy, it allowed me to play with it, to have fun with it, to tinker with it. And it is so much fun. I mean, as designers and developers, turning our ideas into prototypes so quickly and getting a sense of whether what we have in our mind is even worth building is incredible. There's no doubt that a lot of us are feeling overwhelmed and scared. I mean, obviously we would, I understand. But the worrying thing is that a lot of us are burying our heads in the sand and trying to ignore this whole thing. Or we're just scratching the surface, getting scared, and not digging deep enough. We feel it's going to take away our jobs, that the skills that we built are useless, and we feel we can't do anything. We can't help it. And that's worrying because that means we're unable to learn these tools and use them well. They are tools. They are very powerful tools, but they are tools. And we shouldn't be scared of our tools. There's many of us feeling this way. You're not alone. The industry is shifting at a massive scale, so it's understandable that we feel this way. But you do need to make a choice. You can keep sitting, or you can jump in and try to figure out what we can do with this. I can guarantee two things: that it's incredibly fun and that it's not very hard to do. I mean, the reason AI is so powerful in the first place is because it's so easy to learn and use. So before you begin, let's break down what is it that's making it feel so loud and making us all feel so overwhelmed? Because there's so much noise. And as you start taking your first productive steps, it's important to know what to block out. So first, let's get the obvious one out of the way. These are incredibly powerful tools, and they have already changed how we're supposed to work moving forward. And then there's the sensationalism, the negative sensationalism. It's the headlines and the YouTube videos and the LinkedIn posts talking about an entire industry of designers being irrelevant, an entire industry of developers being irrelevant. If you're a junior designer, you're not relevant anymore. If you don't use this tool, you're not relevant anymore. Everyone's just trying to grab your attention. That's all. I totally understand the irony of saying this in a video that you'll probably watch on social media, but you need to be sensible here. You need to control where you're getting your news from. You need to control what you're exchanging that time and attention for. And it should not be your sense of calm and sanity. And the last thing is that these tools are being updated at an incredible pace. So what that means is that every week there's a new term, a new word that you're supposed to know. And this gets amplified by social media, where again, everyone's trying to grab your attention. So suddenly you need to know what an MCP is, what agentic behavior is, Claude, custom GPT agents, cursor, windsurf is. It's bonkers. So if there's so much noise, let's first talk about what are the main things that you actually need to care about. Remember, this is about getting you started, so don't jump the gun, stick with me, be patient. To begin with, ChatGPT and Claude, these are probably terms you've heard of. These are chatbots or conversational assistants that you can talk to about anything. You can ask them anything and they will try their best to give you an answer. Most of the time, very, very impressive answers. But these are just chat interfaces, and most likely you've already used them by now. And if by any chance, if you haven't done this already, go to openai.com or claude.com and log in, sign up using an account, and just start chatting. Just start using them. The next two tools, Lovable and Bolt, especially for designers and developers. These are tools built on top of the AI technology. These tools build websites. They have a chat-like interface. You type something in it, you tell it what you want to build, and it will very quickly just try to build what it thinks you have in mind. There are other tools that build other things, but these are for websites, and you should definitely look into this. The other term that you will hear a lot is prompt engineering. A prompt is basically the message that you send a chatbot. That's just a prompt for it to respond to. The engineering part in this term refers to the fact that these assistants, these bots, prefer instructions given to them in a certain way. Now, you don't need to do a course on this. You don't need to fear this. You don't need to think too much about it. When you start using them very quickly, you will start realizing that there are patterns, giving them clear instructions, being very thorough with their instructions. It helps them respond better to your requests. So don't worry about it. You will hear this term a lot. You will hear that there are jobs being created with prompt engineer in the title. Don't worry about it. Don't think too much about it. Just get started with chatting with the interfaces. You'll get here on your own. No worries. There's also this fear of being left behind. All this chaos and noise makes you feel like everyone's so far ahead of you. I promise you they're not. Everyone has access to the same tools and everyone's just trying to figure this out. And all you need to do is start playing and tinkering around with these tools, and you will very quickly start figuring out how you can apply these tools to where you are, to what you do. Now, like I said, my goal is to help you get started, and this is all I want you to worry about right now. Now, what I'm talking about applies to designers, developers, or anyone who's struggling to get started with AI. But I work mostly with designers, so I have some specific starting points if you're a designer. Now, if it's not obvious already, go get a ChatGPT subscription. Get the free tier, that's plenty. And for Lovable, you'll have to pay. But if you're a designer and you can afford it, do not think twice about it. Just get the subscription. You can cancel it after a month or so if you move on to other tools. That's totally fine. But get the subscription and start using it every day. ChatGPT and Lovable. You should be using these two every day. Could be Claude or Bolt as well, but I would just recommend ChatGPT and Lovable is a great starting point. Just start using them every day. Remember, you can talk to these conversational agents like ChatGPT and Claude in almost every language. So if English isn't your first language, don't worry. Just talk to them in your own language and they should work fine. Okay, first, product designers, there are two things I want you to do after you've started using ChatGPT and Lovable every day. First, build a prototype in Lovable. I'm not saying build a whole website or a whole product. No, a prototype. So for instance, if you're working on the pricing page for a product, build that prototype in Lovable. Give it instructions and let it build it for you, and then see if you can go out and test with it. And second, design a prototype first in Figma or whatever tools you use, and then bring that into Lovable and get Lovable to make what you've designed. That's when you will start understanding the constraints of a tool like Lovable. And you will start trying to figure out how you get Lovable to play by your rules, to build exactly what you wanted to build. That's going to be a fun one. Okay, design researchers. First is exactly the same as product designers. Use Lovable to build a prototype. Your research doesn't need to depend on someone else making prototypes for you anymore. You should be able to build the prototypes in Lovable yourself. And the second one, when you build your interview guides or your discussion guides, put them in ChatGPT and ask it to critique it like a product manager, a product designer, a marketing executive. That will help you make your interview guides and discussion guides even more comprehensive. And third, if you have access to Google Gemini, use it to do some desk research. The first time you do it, don't worry about the results. Just give it a task and see what it comes back with. And then you'll start learning how you can use it for yourself. Service designers, again, two things. Start building your prototypes in Lovable and start using Google Gemini to do desk research. Remember, these are just starting points I'm giving you. I'm not trying to tell you how to use these tools. I'm just trying to get you started. And you will do something cool. I guarantee it. Okay, hopefully that was helpful. And just to wrap up, remember, stay focused. Cut through the hype. There's a lot of noise out there. Block it out. Don't aim to learn and understand everything. You don't need to. Everyone's trying to grab your attention. Pick one or two tools, stick to them. If you learn to use one or two tools really well, that is fantastic. Don't feel like you're left behind just because you don't know about all the different tools that are coming out into the market. It is just hype. And taking big leaps feels tough, so start with small steps. You'll be fine. Cheers.